All right, guys, welcome back to another interview on Unhinged. I'm joined by the one, the only James Powell. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Thank you. How are yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing absolutely fantastic. I think my day's got even better because I'm joined by you. An absolutely fantastic performance on the weekend. I'm absolutely buzzing. It was a fantastic fight for the fans, and obviously you got the hand raised. How's that feeling after the weekend? How do you feel right now?
Yeah, mate. I'm on top of the world, mate. It was a really entertaining fight for myself to be part of. Like I was really enjoying myself in there, and yeah, I'm still on a high from it, mate. Yeah, still not settled back down yet.
Yeah, I presume you ain't gonna settle down for a long while because it was just the whole experience was amazing. It was wild. The first round it was close, and the second round you came out with that urgency. It was beautiful. But after your debut, we'll quickly go back to your debut. This was your second fight. Was the feeling kind of different heading into this fight because you've made that walk to the Cage Warriors cage before? Did you feel more settled when you were coming into this fight?
Yeah, definitely, mate. I'd say so. I think that first fight, I was so eager and so desperate to like impress, and not that I'm not anyway, but like I just felt probably a little bit of extra pressure in that first one. Whereas this one, I just felt like I had a job to do. Go in there and do the business. Definitely felt more at home, a bit more used to the setting and how Cage Warriors run things backstage. Just seemed a little bit more familiar.
Absolutely, and it was a fantastic fight. And to my surprise, we talked about this a little bit off air. It was a kind of a longer turnaround for than I expected for yourself. I thought the Cage Warriors they'll turn you around because it was such a fantastic debut versus Adam, and then obviously it took about 10 months, I think, or something like that. Ideally, in a perfect world, would you have liked to have that that quick turnaround?
Yeah, I would have liked to have got back in there quicker. I mean, I was hoping to be on the New Year's Eve card, which just didn't come to fruition. Unfortunately, I was training for that. Just had struggled getting a match on that show, and they did have the opportunity to get me on a little bit earlier in the winter. But I had family commitments all around that time as well, so things just didn't work out quite right for me to get in there any sooner. And this was the next available card that they could get me on. So it is what it is, and we'll just do as we're told, kind of thing, and fight when they give me the contract.
And then we'll talk about that next fight. Obviously, it was a fantastic fight against Lukasz Kopera. I'm going to call him Kopera. It's that kind of I'm no good with saying names, but I'm going to go with Lukasz. I'm just going to call him Lukasz because it's easy. But yeah, it was a fantastic fight. Coming off the back, we talked about that, Dave. Coming off the back of the high of his debut. The first round, it was very, it was very close. He, as we talked about before affair, he kind of wanted to stand with you a little bit, to kind of test the waters, but immediately it was, it was evident that he wanted to have that, that heavy wrestling game plan. Is that what you kind of prepared for, obviously, for this fight?
Yeah, definitely. Training at ASW with Kamakakuru, he gave me a full breakdown of what the guy's good at, what he kind of expects from him. And to be honest, mate, most of the people I fight with are probably going to come in with a heavy wrestling mindset, I feel like, and try and push the grappling. But I feel like people underestimate me there. They see my fights and my striking credentials, but that's because that's what I enjoy to do, man. It's not that I'm not a capable guy on the floor, and I think I showed that. Stayed composed when he did get the takedown. He wasn't able to do anything with it, and he was just squeezing so hard to keep me there. I kind of just bided my time and waited because he was trying so hard to hold me in the position that he was. I was kind of thinking the ref might stand us, or obviously just wait to the start of the next round. And then once I got a timing on his takedowns, he won't get me down again after that.
Yeah, and what was the feeling, obviously, heading back to after that first round onto the stool? What was the feeling after, a tough first round? What was running through your mind? What was the coach saying to you? And obviously, how was that feeling basically on the stool?
Yeah, I was calm and composed. Like I said, not really using much energy, because, like I say, he was squeezing so hard. I could hear him breathing heavy. I could feel the squeeze he was using to try and keep me there, because I was trying to hustle to wrestle up on the underhook, but he was trying really hard to clamp things down. So I knew, and looking across the stool at him, he was sat down, and I could see he was breathing heavy as well, and I was quite relaxed. So the corner team gave me good advice, what things were working for me in the striking, what to do more of, and then I was probably over hitting the head kick, getting a little bit trigger happy with that, and they were just advising against that and to go back to more of the hands, really, because when I was throwing the punches, I couldn't miss. Like I was hitting him clean with pretty much everything I committed on. And just to be wary of the shot and that he was trying to shoot after my kicks. So just to be ready for that sprawl and be ready. That's the kind of timing he tried to get, was after I kick, that's when he was going to shoot. And then that's exactly what he did in the second round. But my timing was there for that then.
Yeah, and I feel like in that second round you came out with a little bit more urgency. I saw a little bit more, I don't know, pop on your punches, should we say? You're throwing them with more intent, and obviously we've seen that. Obviously, the finishing sequence. Obviously, it started with that elbow. The step in elbow. It was absolutely fantastic. It was beautiful to watch. It was when I was watching it live, and then you saw the blood splatter. I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. It gave me moments of Do you remember when BJ Penn had that blood and he started licking it? It just like I was immediately thinking of the greats that we had. And obviously we had Ross Houghton versus Nick Dalby in the Cage Warriors case. So I feel like you've produced another moment that we'll look back in these years. But talking about that elbow, is that something obviously that you had a feeling that you were going to land? Was that something that maybe you looked at in camp, or was it just instinct? You just threw it and obviously it landed.
I mean, credit to Ryan Kennedy, my pad man. We drew a lot of stepping elbows anyway from the southpaw stance, but it wasn't necessarily something going into the fight I was expecting to use. It was just more what fit the gap. If you look at that second round, I throw. He got the first takedown, so in the first round off a front kick. I hit him with the same shot in the second round. And he tries to take me down and defend that. So I thought, right, I'm going to switch it up to something a bit more shorter range. I'll try the knee. I'll land a nice clean knee, and he still drives in for a takedown, which I defend. So I was like, right, I'm going to sack using my legs off, so that I've got both my legs underneath me, and I'll go in with the elbow. So the next time I got the time when he shot, I thought I'm going to step in with the elbow. And yeah, he just landed sweet. So yeah, it was just kind of like, I was literally picking tools out of the tool bag, seeing what fit the gap, really, mate. Yeah.
Like a plumber in his prime.
Yeah, exactly, mate. That's it.
It was absolutely beautiful. It was fantastic to watch. And you know what fighters, when they say when they feel it land, you know it lands. Did it kind of feel like that when you hit that elbow? Did you think, that was a good one?
Yeah, well, I wasn't sure whether I'd cut him or not with it initially, but I knew the impact was good because if you look, he shoots a high double, but as I hit the elbow, he actually drops down to his knees. So I knew I'd like rocked him with the shot. So that initial bit was like, right, I've hurt him with that. But then as he was driving me back to the fence and I was getting the whizzer in and defending the double leg, I seen the first drip of blood hit the canvas. And I was just like, yes, like I thought that's going to be a big cut because I knew how hard the elbow had hit him. So yeah, I knew the cut was going to be bad. And then obviously I seen all the blood afterwards and yeah, man, just lit a fire in me big time.
Yeah, well, obviously I watched the fight back again this morning. And as you just talked about, when that blood came out, it seemed like you had a smile on your face. It seemed like you perked up even more. What is that? What did you like about that? Was it the feeling of, I've just hurt my opponent. I know he's badly damaged. Did you feel like that maybe that cut could stop the fight? And obviously, eventually it did.
Yeah, definitely an element of that, mate. And also, like, just definitely got that little bit of psychopath in me. I feel like when I fight, like the crazier the fight is, the more I enjoy it. And it was definitely a little moment of that, like, yes, we're in a proper scrap now, and this is me and my element,
It just brought the best out of you, and obviously, he went back to the stool after round 2. Did you have that feeling? Did you think he was going to come back out from round 3? For me, I thought it was a bit of a surprise. I thought maybe come out, maybe try a last attempt and try and get that takedown. But did you have a feeling he wasn't going to come out, and was you quite surprised when he didn't come out?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you, mate. I thought, like, going into the fight, I had a lot of respect for Lukasz and what he's capable of and the veteran that he is. He's got a lot of wins. He's known as being a durable guy and very tough. So for him to retire on the stool, I was surprised, mate. If you watch it back, I was bouncing around, ready to come out for the next round.
Yeah.
And I was complaining to the ref because his corner team were all still around him, giving him ice and that. And I was like, what's going on? Get him off the stool, like, let's get to work. And then it was the ref that, like, kind of told me, like, yo, you've won. He's give up. So, yeah. I was surprised, mate. I thought he would have come back out. I definitely felt like I was going to finish him in that third. But, I was surprised that he retired on the stool.
Was there, like, a little bit of an element of disappointment that he didn't come back out? Because obviously it was coming through the broadcast that you were excited, you wanted to fight. It felt like that you were enjoying the moment. And obviously that third round was definitely going to go your way, obviously looking at the demeanor of both of them. So was there an element of disappointment that he didn't come out because you wanted to fight that third round?
To be honest, mate, no, not really. In the moment, I was just over the moon to have got the win, and also like to make a guy like Lukasz, who is such a veteran and prides himself on warrior spirit, to have to retire on the stool, like that's a huge achievement with someone like that. As far as I'm aware, he's never done that before, and he, like I said previously, he's known as being so durable and tough. So to break somebody's will like that and give them enough of a beating that they don't want to come back out for another round is like, you know, it's the old Roberto Duran, you know, no mass situation. So yeah, man, it's but a sense of pride with that one, definitely.
Yeah, and obviously, how is the confidence and how is that feeling? Obviously, after, as we just talked about, your most experienced opponent on paper to date. How does that feel? Obviously, getting that, you know, getting that name under your resume, and obviously now, you know, lean on to new things. And how does it feel to get, you know, Lukasz under your resume, your most experienced fighter to date?
Yeah, he was probably the most dangerous and most experienced opponent that I've faced up to now. I think he's had like over triple the amount of fights that I've had. So yeah, to get a name like that, a win over him and a stoppage victory in the fashion that I did is a massive achievement, mate. And I think it shows everybody now who maybe wasn't taking me serious. Now they've really got to see me as the top contender in this weight class on Cage Warriors, you know.
Yeah, and obviously it was a fantastic weight class. We've got George Hardwick at the top. I'm going to get to him a little bit. Obviously, I know you saw you're trained out there with him as well. But moving on to the future, I presume you're absolutely buzzing. The feeling in camp is obviously you're feeling really good. And obviously, I would love to ask you when you would like to return. I know you've probably thought about that already.
Yeah, definitely. I've thought about it. So me and my missus are expecting our first baby in September. Yeah, cheers, mate. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm over the moon about that, and they're due in September. So an ideal scenario for me would be to fight before September. So then I can be around to obviously experience being a father and help the missus out as much as possible as well. That's really high on my priority list also. So yeah, if I could get a fight like back end of summer, I think that'd be almost ideal in terms of a schedule.
And then again, does the opponent matter, or does whoever they put in front of you, obviously your game?
Oh yeah, I'm game for anybody. Like Ian Dean's put two very capable names down previously for us, and we've accepted within like a few minutes of receiving the name. Me and Cam have just said yes straight away. I'm not one of these fighters that's going to pick and choose who I get. If they give me a name, I'll fight the guy, and I'll show them what I'm about.
And the last few questions we talked about a little bit there. Obviously, Hardwick brothers. You trained out there in Middlesbrough. Obviously, how was that experience? Obviously, learning from two fantastic fighters. George Hardwick, obviously Cage Warriors lightweight champion, and obviously Harry Hardwick, obviously Cage Warriors featherweight contender. So, what was it like to be in Middlesbrough and obviously learning from them?
Oh mate, the lads are great up there. Honestly, they were very welcoming. You know, didn't feel hostile at all. They were very sound lads, happy to cross train and have me up there with them. And it were quality for me to get some time in with them. Obviously, George is at the top of the division at the minute, and that's where I want to be. So to get some rounds in with him and kind of like pick his brains, you know, on certain things, certain concepts and trade ideas, was really beneficial for me. I know I loved having the rounds with him. Very, very high level rounds, very technical, very fast paced. Prepared me well for this fight. Like I didn't feel tired at all in that fight, mate. Like I could have come out and give another. I could have done a 5-round fight. I could have fought for a title that night. Honestly, I felt incredible fitness wise. Yeah, some of that's down to the rounds that I got in with George, definitely.
Yeah, and I feel like the feeling that I have and most of the fans have, that George should be off to the UFC next. I think undoubtedly it has to happen. He's ready, and I do believe in my head that might have been the last time we've seen George Hardwick in the Cage Warriors in the cage. So that will mean it will open up. It will open up for yourself and obviously the rest of the division. But do you believe George Hardwick will be off to the UFC next?
Yeah, I think everybody's been kind of throwing that around for a little while now, and fully deserved as well. Like George has been top of the division. He's got an amazing winning streak at the minute, and the majority of those wins have all been by TKO or stoppage. So I think it's undeniable at this stage. Like you see some of the other guys that are in the UFC, and I think George smokes a lot of them. I think he's an incredible talent, and he fully deserves to be up there.
And then lastly, did they take you for a Palmo?
No, do you know what? They didn't take me for Palmer, but I'm happy they didn't, because I think George was quite ahead of his weight cut, whereas I was bang on schedule. So the Palmer could have thrown me off, I think. But maybe next time, if I go a little bit earlier in camp, I can go over Palmer with them.
Both of them absolutely bang on about these Palmers and Middlesbrough. And I haven't got down to try. I only live in Newcastle, so I'm not that far away. But they always bang on about these Palmers. I need to go down and try one.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, I feel the same. I feel like I'm missing out.
Something like you know, Paulo Costa secret juice or something, and then Palmer. That's what they've got. But yeah, I appreciate your time, James. An absolute pleasure, and obviously congratulations on obviously your baby that's coming up on September. An absolute pleasure, and obviously congratulations on the fight this week. An absolutely fantastic performance, and I look forward to seeing you next. I think it's interesting.
Thank you, mate. Thanks for your time.